Play your hand, play your hand. No buck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. And no buck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No buck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No buck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No buck, play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand.
Good evening and welcome to Champions Poker Live from Champions Club in Houston, Texas. This is Dan Fouts coming to you live with Kyle Miller. How's it going tonight, Kyle?
Doing great as always, and looking forward to the tournament action.
That is right. It's the final table of the multi-flight, multi-blag Summer Jam 100K guarantee. First place in this one is $22,110. And we have just 9 players remaining in this field. And you can see the chip stacks there. Average stack 1.5 million. Jackson right there in the middle. We have 2 stacks that are double average and 3 stacks that are less than half of average. So it could be very quick, or if the short stacks start doubling up through the big stacks, this could take a while because the average stack is over 30 big blinds at this moment. Actually, it's right in the 40 big blind territory, so plenty of play left in this tournament as long as these short stacks don't get busted right away.
Yeah, and as always at Champions here, there's always great value on your buy-in. Get tons of time, tons of value, great tournament structures here. And first hand of the final table, Bello looks down at Kings +1.
That's a nice way to start.
Yeah.
And he is one of the shorter stacks at 840,000.
Yeah, so it comes in for an open a little bit over 2x. Pretty standard within tournament poker here. The blinds 20,000 and 40,000. Good shot of Voden here.
And Voden coming in as the chip leader with over 3.2 million in chips to start. In great shape against some of these other folks, and starting with the button. That's always a nice way to begin the final table. Raise and take it for Bello. 453 total entries in this event. No double bags, so everybody that's made it through kept the bag that they got there with. A lot of familiar faces at this table, a lot of regulars, both in the cash room and a lot of the tournament grinders here.
Yeah, if you play Houston Poker or play specifically here at Champions, a lot of regulars on this table, which is always nice to see. Bello, a very foldable hand. And then Jackson here has been playing in the room and on some of our recent streams. Kavanaugh, you might recognize as one of our regular cash players as well. Harris typically comes out and plays all the tournaments here. But in our hijack, I believe that's Wohady. Did you get a chance to ask him, clarify on that beforehand?
You know, when I was filling out the bio information, that was the one that I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, let's go with that. Wohady?
Oh, I'm unfamiliar with him, but nice looking hand in the hijack, and he's coming a little bit over the standard open here. Comes in for 100,000 and so far just folds around. The second raise and take.
And he's one of the other big stacks, second in chips, now up over 3 million himself. He's from Houston, so surprised that neither of us know him. He is in sales. Favorite hand is 7 deuce, just like you. And he says, I'm the cooler.
Sounds like he's trying to put some bad beats on some people, or maybe that's how he built that stack. We'll get to see it, though. And another thing that's always interesting, especially coming in to start a final table like this, is seeing the table dynamics, where your seat draw is compared to the big stacks, who's like more handcuffed than other seats, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is interesting that the 2 giant stacks are right next to each other. Obviously not physically with the dealer in between them, but the 1 seat and the 9 seat.
Yeah.
So the players in the 2, 3, and 4 seats have a little bit of an advantage there because they get to act most of the time after the big stacks, and then it's really going to be tough for Harris as one of the shorter stacks to be right before the 2 giant stacks. I do see Harris is getting some love in the chat right now, Bello as well. Let us know who you're rooting for out there, who you're sweating.
Let's see if Voden does live up to his Euroreg moniker. These suited ace wheels love to take aggression just because of blocking properties, and they still obviously can play well post flop.
One raise 200.
And so that's exactly what he does. Comes in with a raise. He can put pressure on Kavanaugh. And again, because Wohady has folded every other stack behind Voden, he can just apply max pressure. And even if they wake up with something or cooler him, he still has a very manageable stack. So this 3-bet to 200,000 folds back to Kavanaugh, and this is a tough spot for the 4s. But he commits himself.
And now it's not much more for Voden to try to knock out one of these short stacks here, but what you don't want to do is lose 600,000 or 700,000 to a shorter stack, leaving yourself the second stack to Wohady, who's just did a raise and take a minute ago here. But that 200,000 raise is giving Voden about 1-to-1 now to call, or even better than that with the antes. There's 90,000 in the pot with the ante and blinds to start.
Yeah, and if you could see the cards already, complete information, honestly, I think you just already snap it off, take the spin. But understandable that he wants to do some quick math, and you never want to, it's one of those things of heavy as the crown. So nice to come in with a chip lead, but then it's kind of on you to bust the first couple players here. And all it takes is losing 2 of the flips to find yourself middle of the pack or at the bottom of it.
Yeah, I believe one of the old school tournament poker books said the big stacks are there to swat the flies.
Yeah. So yeah, he's just doing his math. You can see him checking these other stacks as well. Don't hate fold as well, just because he's essentially giving Kavanaugh the minimum here. Kavanaugh would obviously chip up to right around $1 million just underneath it, but keeping middling stacks on the table and short stacks, yeah, he just retains his ability to put pressure on other players. He doesn't mind having some short stacks on because that also kind of cripples Bryce, for instance, on getting his chips in.
Yeah, discipline lay down from the big stack, and interesting that Kavanaugh chose to show those 4s, showing that he's willing to put his stack in there with a small pair.
Yeah, maybe get a light call in the future depending on how we see cards distributed.
Balls get you from thinking.
I'm glad I don't have to wait.
And a lot of these players are going to be familiar with each other as well. Voden and Kavanaugh have played at least a lot of cash with each other. Kavanaugh is newer within the tournament streets, but has done really well here at Champions within the past couple months as he's gotten more and more into putting some tournament volume in. This one folds around to something Voden's not going to fold. The offsuit ace queen comes in for 2x.
3 folds.
Folds into the blinds now.
5 folds.
And Jackson can defend this, just, yeah, halfway in, halfway out, depending on the holding, but Jack 10 can definitely take it post flop. Don't like being out of position against one of the chip leaders, but good enough for top pair decent kicker. That kicker being put to work as well with the 8 on board. Just like that, Jackson takes the lead and checks it on over. Jackson can expect Voden to c-bet this flop large majority of the time, which he does, and c-bets small, which is also pretty standard here. Voden working with backdoor diamonds, the 2 overs.
Jackson, no stranger to our stream. He's played here in cash games before as well.
I like this move by Jackson, finding the check raise. Again, he knows that Voden is supposed to c-bet essentially 100% of the time here. So he gets the extra 50,000 on the flop, now raises and takes it down. Denies the float and backdoor equity to Voden.
So now 2 hands in a row, the big stack has tried to apply pressure and had to fold. That means, I would think, that Voden will tighten up a little bit now for a few hands. So he's really going to have it next time. Not that he didn't have it with ace-queen,
Yeah.
but...
Yeah, both those hands for Voden were played really well and standard, essentially. I don't think that he could have misplayed those.
We've got John Dyer in the chat saying, would love to know how many bullets some of these guys, Harris and Cav, fired. I didn't talk to Harris about that before, but Kavanaugh did say that he felt super lucky to be here at the final table. This is his 3rd bullet, and he almost got felted on the 3rd bullet. Got it in and got called in 4 spots, 5 ways to quintuple up on one hand, and ends up riding that stack all the way to the final table. So pretty exciting for Kavanaugh.
Yeah, after that, you just feel like you're free rolling the entire tournament and find yourself on the final table. That's huge. This one folding around into the shorter stacks here. Bryce also out of the way, or shorter stack.
And I don't know how many bullets Harris fired, but I do know when there was about 14 players left, he got involved in a huge pot with Voden. He had one of the biggest stacks at that time in the tournament, definitely the biggest stack at his own table, and had a big hand, but Voden had a set of 9s, and there was another player with a set of 5s, so Voden ended up scooping an enormous pot when there were just a few players left.
Score 120. Big five.
Wow, look at this developing.
7 is all in.
Bello opens, ace-4 off. Jackson not too sure about the call here in the small blind, just flatting the open with queen 10.
Yeah,
looking
what a
pretty
spot for Kavanaugh.
optimistic, and then Kavanaugh just wakes up with it and jams the hand strength.
And he just showed 4s moments ago. Jackson might be thinking about that, thinking I've got 2 live cards, possibly 2 over cards. Might end up making a loose call here, given the amount of chips that are already in this pot.
I think he's just thinking, why did I
Right,
call
why-
in between?
Why did I give up this extra
Yeah.
100K?
And I do get it at times as well, where you're kind of thinking, all right, I've got both these guys covered. I should be able to see a flop here and potentially just take this post flop, maybe push perceived edge. But that's the issue, especially out of position, just coming in between there with a flat. You're not really saying that you have a strong hand from the small blind, and Kavanaugh waking up with it, but could do that even with far worse hands and still get a fold out of Jackson.
And what a start for Kavanaugh. Less than an orbit in, and he's already doubled his stack without having to see a flop. Pretty crazy. Came in 685,000, has over 1.2 million now. Not quite double, but
Yeah.
right there. Another ace-queen for Voden.
And blinds are up, so notice this, that Harris playing 460,000 has now put in nearly a quarter of his stack with the big blind and big blind ante posting 100,000, and he's not committed 360,000.
Oh, wow. Look at all these aces. Vu calling with ace 8 of diamonds, and Bryce now all in with ace king. And here's the other one. Ace jack of hearts on the button for Jackson. Facing an all-in from Bryce, which reopens the betting for the original raiser.
Yeah, and this is rough for Jackson. Obviously, it's a lot of hand, but, and you know that vote-in should be opening still probably pretty wide. Vu's flat. It's just a lot to think about here for Jackson. He could go to isolate, obviously, jam over the top of this, assuming vote-in is light. But both vote-in and Vu covering Jackson here. You'd also just hate to fold this strong of a hand and then see it quickly go fold behind.
It'll be an interesting spot here if Jackson does make this call to see what vote-in does with ace queen. He could jam over the top and create a side pot, but likely that would result in folds, and he would be isolating Bryce, who we know has the better hand. Tight lay down there for ace jack suited. Given all that action, totally understandable. And it folds back around to vote-in, who is going to make the call and be behind Bryce here. Actually did not make the call. He did squeeze it up here, putting the pressure on Vu, who would be all in against vote-in.
Yeah, and that's essentially just the ISO jam and a really good jam by vote-in. He doesn't want to just call and let somebody in behind that could go and like take the lead post flop. But cards on their backs, and ace king still dominating as the board pairs itself on the turn.
Little chop opportunities, and there it is. Chop it up. 2 pairs on board.
All 4 players would have chopped that up.
What be said, JJ? I made us money.
Really good ISO jam.
Yeah.
It turns out.
Yeah, with Vu's flat pre-flop, they actually do chip up a little bit there.
They might have had a queen and beam.
Yeah, that's why I called for the chop.
Yeah, between that and the blinds and antes,
I called for a date 10 deuce.
it's not a bad win for Bryce.
Never greedy.
So Harris, our shortest stack now, 360, gonna be in the small blind.
It would have been
I
a
had
9 on the
610.
river. It would have been
Annihilated you both.
Depending on what he gets here, might find himself committed or wait for the next orbit, but it's really got to be within this next orbit, if not right here, right now.
Cocoa Puffs at least.
Chip denominations, you see the pink chips are 5,000 each, the green chips are 25,000, and then the white and blue pearly whites are 100,000 each.
Voten put on his bio sheet earlier, not this particular bio sheet, he's played on our stream before. He did say he's not playing 7-4 for Dan, so not surprised to see that go into the muck.
I was about to ask, can we still get a meow?
Well, you know, player dependent, obviously. Voden's been here in this commentary booth before. I'm going to needle him a little bit.
Yeah, speaking of needles, a bunch of us were talking to him beforehand and just saying, hey, just don't punt it. It's nice to have all the chips, but we know how you play, man.
Voden also said to shout out to his coach, Han Fang, another player that we've seen on this stream a number of times.
5 and 6 fold.
And tournament crusher, by the way.
10 4 they fold.
This is very interesting. Just limp from the suited queen jack. And understandable that suited ace 9 behind, just asking for all. I mean, this hand really should have just played itself. I think most players folds around to you. Sure, you're jamming into a big stack here, but queen jack suited is essentially just too much hand. But fold announced. Harris is just going to wait for better spot, I guess.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I would think that you would jam or fold before you put another chip in the pot there, but I guess he found out what he wanted to find out, and turns out to be correct. Would have been 60-40 favorite for the ace-9, I guess, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, obviously, Wahidi's going to fold the suited ace-9 there, blind on blind, but you've got to come in stronger as well. That time he had it, but a lot of the times you're either just going to get a fold or get called by worse with the suited queen-jack, so...
And not that that scenario is likely to repeat, but
yeah.
If you do limp and then fold, you're inviting that player to raise you every time.
Yeah. Regardless, Harris now on the button is going to have tire orbit to get it in better here. Vu opened this one up though. 110 from him. Folds to Kavanaugh on the cutoff, suited ace-king. I like to see him come in with a 3-bet non all-in.
Yeah, now he's got some chips to play with, and that's
Yeah.
what he does.
8 and 9 are folding.
Sizable 3-bet though, 350,000. Not messing around. Oh, and Bowden with another pretty big hand.
Bowden does have to put a lot of respect to Kavanaugh's 3-bet here, including the +1 open. Vu should be having a lot of strong hands. You're going to be tighter from earlier position, especially with some shorter stacks on the table. There's real no incentive for Vu to be active right now, since he does have one of the larger stacks relative to Bryce Bello, even covering Jackson and Kavanaugh as well. So with Vu third in chips and under the gun +1 open, yeah, as pretty as the suited ace-10 looks,
I can't see the back.
this is just a fold here.
A little tiny stack right there. A little baby.
We do see those cards just off screen. He does make the fold of the ace-10. And Vu does ultimately make the call. Would be a little bit better, obviously, if he was taking this post flop with suited king jack. I think a lot of players are still going to have the offsuit king jack in a raise fold bucket, but both players with black cards buried, and it's an 8 high all heart flop. Sorry, all red flop. 2 hearts, and yeah, check, jam, fold. Kavanaugh continuing to just chip up here on the final table.
And showing again.
I folded your least favorite hand suited.
Understood.
I had your least favorite hand.
Because you get dominated.
Shows the best of it.
I was suited too.
Consistently.
8 hands in, nearly tripled his stack now, has Kavanaugh.
Always sticking it in you.
Yeah.
Good start to the final table.
Everyone else focus, I thought it would be more entertaining.
I looked down, I was like, damn, this is Kevin's least favorite hand. I'm for sure to hit him with it.
Yeah, you should have. You should have said, you know what? All in, baby. Let's go.
Folds to the 6s of Bello. Still have plenty of the table behind here left to act. But comes in, standard 2x open. And it does fold into the blinds. Tens, though, for Voden here in the small blind.
Wow, card distribution going pretty well for the player that came in with the most chips.
Yeah, it's going to seem like he's just getting super active or wants to be super active. Even off of some of his folds, he's still taking his time to think through things, and that may factor into how players play back at him. But given Bello's stack and the stacks behind, I do see him coming in to try to ISO this, and he can't really go wrong either way. I do think that he is going to want to try to ISO, though, completely just... more often than not, ask for all of Bello's chips. And there it is. All in from Voden. Basically saying, hey, we can run it with some pocket pairs, or if you have maybe some ace jack off, ace jack suited plus, and you want to run it, cool. Otherwise, I'm going to deny you that equity. And disciplined fold by Bello. Those sixes, really like eights minus, should just be, again, just raise fold. So Voden does pick up that pot there. And then some action starting now with one of our shorter stacks, Bryce.
When we started this final table, it could have easily been a bloodbath with the short stacks and the big stacks, but one of those short stacks is now right in the middle. Kavanaugh with just over average stack at this point. It's entirely possible the other short stacks could get some chips. And with this structure, this final table could last a few hours. Vohidi with ace king, and Voden with another ace in position here. Probably going to give some respect to the big stack with ace 4 offsuit, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely zero incentive for Voden and Vohidi to clash here. And again, just table dynamic. Vohidi really shouldn't be opening into Voden that much.
Vood getting a decent price to peel a flop here with a suited connector, but he's going to be out of position against the big stack for the rest of this hand. There's definitely an argument for just letting go of the 8 high pre-flop, but he will see the flop here.
Does allow for a lot of clarity post-flop like that. Now he's committed to it. Top pair, open-ended. And from Vohidi's, yeah, it goes check-check really quickly, actually. And
interesting card
straightens
here.
out as Vohidi picks up the nut flush draw.
75 from 3.
And bet's super small here. Almost enticing the big stack to put pressure on. Discipline just call from Vohidi. And a safe river card for Vu.
And Vu's got to feel like he's got a lock on the hand, obviously. Vohidi, if he did have a flush draw, would have c-bet the flop, try to get some value early before action killing turn or river. But instead, Vu knows he has the best of it, and I think given the turn sizing, he could have gone a little bit smaller on the river as well, just to try and get paid. Not a lot of hands that are calling you turn for 75,000 are gonna then size up to the 225 river value.
Yeah, and every big blind matters at the end of the tournament. But Vu making a bit of a comeback there. He took a hit early on and is climbing back up to what he came to this final table with now.
Five was 100. 6 fold.
Aces for Bello under the gun. He started the stream with kings, didn't get action on those. He definitely wants action now. And he's going to get it. This is a quick back. This is an amazing sight to Bello. Bello only has 520 back.
3 fold.
Yeah, that click gives him extra value whether or not O'Hetty makes the call here now. And he's basically priced himself in.
Don't have a Hoppadillo on tap? Oh, I'll take it. I'm about to watch it.
If Bello doesn't go all in and just comes with a smaller raise, that might actually seem much stronger. And O'Hetty might just fold. It looks like that's what he's going to do. Leaving some behind.
400.
Terrible.
I like 395.
Yeah, all the chips are going now.
Yeah, big stack just
Call.
raising.
Yeah, that small click back was just saying, hey, I want you to commit yourself completely before any run out. And that's what we have now. He
Back to
disinterested,
lunch.
turns back to his dinner here. Gonna need a lot of help. There's
some.
2 clubs.
Two
Could
different backdoor
straighten out
routes.
as well.
Also chop possibility with a...
Yeah, but Drunk Dead on the turn. Deuce of diamonds seals it for Bello to double.
And a double up.
Let me count.
All right, guys, I'm turning you over to Dave. Thank you guys again. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate you. Good luck with that. Go watch it on TV.
Bello came into this final table with less than $1 million in chips. And after that hand, up to nearly average.
620.
That's got to feel good. So the chip distribution starting to even out a little bit now. Still have 2 short stacks south of $500,000. Harris and Bryce looking for
I think I had 6 big blinds at that.
doubles like that.
Disappointed in you.
Every time you've done
Bryce will be in the small blind this next hand.
What's that?
You not got quads again?
Get out of here, man. Yeah, I know, I saw. I was sitting at the same
Oh, you were at the same table?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm disappointed in you. No, I heard you say that, but then you had like quad games and you had like quad nines or something like that. Disappointing in you, man. Don't bring that weak game here. If you don't make quads, then just leave, please.
That was a donkey play by me. Congrats.
Big blind.
He liked it.
I know.
50 and 50, right?
And the hand right before I had ace king, dude. That was a tilt call. Oh man.
6 fold. 7, 8, and 9 fold. 1 raise 100.
Folds around to the chip leader here. The draggers and the hijack. Pocket threes, and we haven't even seen Batra with a hand, let alone think so far. That's been the best looking hand he's seen, but does make the fold.
Doesn't want to tangle with the chip leader without an ace.
Yeah.
At least. We'll give it some thought here with another suited connector in position.
Calls 100.
Seems to like those hands. Makes the call.
I think Vu just likes seeing flops.
That could
He's
very well be.
not afraid to get in there and be active. Just can't blame him. Some players just prefer that style.
And this might be the hand that Bryce goes with. King, queen. Got some dead money out there. The flat from Bryce might be a little scary for the king, queen offsuit, but yeah, that's the raise and then the call, enough to get the king, queen to get out of there.
Party's always open for you, JJ. You can always come in if you want. It won't be mean.
Hmm?
You could have come in with us.
Some friendly table talk there. Voden and
You.
Bryce
I don't get that.
know each other pretty well here, and
Wow.
three's still best somehow. Got to be feeling pretty good too.
60.
Boo with that gut shot, and backdoor diamonds though might decide to go ahead and see another card. 60,000 c-bet, just barely over one big blind.
Yeah, if you're going to call pre with a hand like this and flop some equity, some backdoors, you're in position. You really have to peel to a turn. Does put the call in and does make a pair. This could actually work out quite well to Fu's advantage. Voden's not going to give him credit for connecting with this board very much. Rainbow completes on the turn.
$170. From down.
Goes with just over a third pot sizing here now on the turn. And Vu instantly reaching for chips.
Yeah. Voden even talks about it, says you called much faster there. That's going to slow Voden down quite a bit here, and he does go for check.
Okay.
Voden's going to be surprised to see that tabled there. And
I don't think he'll be the only one.
yeah. Yeah, if the rest of the table is watching as they should be, that's going to be a very telling sign.
We got excited when we made it.
And
Bryce also realizing that if he had just jammed pre, maybe threes take a spin. Bryce is short enough that Voden could potentially justify a call off there, but more than likely Bryce could have honestly just taken it down pre-flop there.
Oh, David. I just said David. You want me to ask David?
Flat, flop, check. That's why.
No, I don't have to leave tonight. So, time wasn't good.
Stacks are definitely flattening out here as Kavanaugh and Bello have chipped up and chipped away at some of these leading stacks.
125. Wait a minute.
Batra thinking things over now. King 10 in the hijack, but does make the fold. Sevens now for Vu.
I've been watching a lot more Friday, I do like 11 $300 from 3.
I like the 3-bet from the sevens here. Buys the button. Blinds are likely going to fold out as well, which they do. And Wohady folds before the cameras get back to him here. Even though Wohady did double up Bello, he's still going to be pretty wide opening from mid and early position there. We could definitely see there pretty wide with the Jack 10 from the +2. Welcome to AC in chat. I saw you back from Vegas, at least temporarily. Saw you in the room earlier. I hope Vegas has treated you well. I know that you were having a nice run out there. But yeah, let us know in chat who you're rooting for here at this final table, or if you've been out to Vegas for the World Series at all this summer. Let us know how you've been doing on those trips, or if you plan on going back for the mini main starting and main event coming up. No break for Voden. Dealt another big one here. Ace King off, comes in for 120. Blinds did go up to 30-60. So again, the 2x open, and Vu out of the way. Thought he was going to get in there. He likes those suited connectors from what we've seen. Instead, this one gets no resistance. Just raise and take for Voden. Pressure definitely going to be on for Harris now. Again, blinds are up. He's coming into the big blind with 310. Now posting 120 of that for the big blind and ante. Kavanaugh and the small blind, and Kavanaugh getting some love in the chat as well. Leslie saying, "Let's go, Kevin. Woohoo." She's also rooting for Voden by the looks of it. You gotta pick one. Some love for Vu as well from Tino. John Dyer. John Dyer, one of my favorites. He's in there rooting for two people as well. JJ, who we're looking at as Bryce right now. And also for Voden. No way.
Huh?
The shorty's gonna get a walk by the looks of it. Folds around to the button.
I'm not thinking about calling. Yeah, but it's a small stack. I know if you have anything.
Jack 4, good enough for Jackson to come into the pot for 150. And Harris just open folds the 10-6. Good recognition by Jackson there to go after that configuration. Should be pretty wide and should be able to steal the blinds there, and did. Now some additional love being shown towards Ben, towards Bello. Welcome to everybody in chat here. Good having y'all. Do love when we take a chance to stream our final tables. I know there's a lot of love for the Summer Jam here, and we do have the Summer Poker Open coming up as well. 2 weeks of tournament action, and we will be streaming some of those final tables. $1 million main event, plenty of amazing side events to come. And we do stream cash as well here. Typically 3 days out of the week, either Monday through Wednesday or Tuesday through Thursday, including weekly PLO on Tuesdays. So come on back if you enjoy cash action as well. Harris found a hand to go with. Folds into the blinds, and last time the same configuration, Harris just limped in with the suited Queen Jack, Ace 9 for 180. He jammed it. Harris folds, but this time Harris says, I gotta go with it. And Wahidi, even though it's just a couple blinds here, folds the 7 tray. 2 live cards and definitely a live suit. Doesn't want to give Harris the double. Unfortunate for Harris there that he didn't get the action. I think most players, just any 2 cards after already committing 120,000, likely just gonna call the additional amount there.
3 clubs on the
Obviously,
absolutely dead.
60 of that 120,000 is just dead in the mental as the ante, but I think you can complete that pretty wide there and still be thinking that the 7 tray are super live. Harris likely just jamming pocket pairs and suited Broadway, and really any Broadway for that matter, given his stack. Queens now for Batra. Under the gun, and I like the non-all-in sizing. Can't just rip that type of stack first to act, and the same way that kings and aces are too much of a hand that you want to see a flop, you want to keep somebody in, you want to get action. I like the raise. He definitely sizes up, and he's not going to get any action, but does buy himself a free orbit here. Dipod with a question in chat asking if any of the cash game regs entered this one. I think Dipod is actually referring to some of our live stream cash regulars, who you still see on screen, or did see on screen there for a second. Voden in the 1 seat. Currently still our chip leader by a small margin. He actually has played on stream quite a few times, but has done more commentary work than he has played on our stream. He was in our commentary rotation for a couple months and has great analysis and plays some of the mid stakes and just tournament crusher as well. So he and Jackson have blessed our cash stream here. But then, yeah, as John Dyer in the chat has mentioned, Kavanaugh, who has the 10s here, is one of our cash regulars in the room. Probably gets the most hours in. We used to do some free rolls and kind of like loyalty bonuses for players that get the most volume in and do a appreciation free roll. And Kavanaugh was leading that department, I believe, multiple months in a row. Everybody with pocket pairs here. Open in the hijack.
Okay.
And Voden has played quite a lot with Kavanaugh, so Voden should have a very good understanding of Kavanaugh's range here, and I think that's why he does just flat from the small blind. I don't hate it. He knows that at best he's flipping with Kavanaugh, and Hades flat on the button. Additional reason for Voden to just go set mining here and
Check.
1 check, 7 check, 9 check.
this one checks around very quickly.
1 check.
Would have liked for Kavanaugh to find a C-bet on the flop, but doesn't bet the turn as well. No sets have been mined. Everybody's just going to take their showdown value here. No.
Seven.
Now on the river, Kavanaugh decides to lead out. And this is a little questionable, but could get the additional value potentially. Just not sure what types of hands Kavanaugh is trying to target here. If he's potentially trying to turn the pocket pair into a semi-bluff. This has been trending more so within cash streets recently, of turning a pocket pair into a bluff on the river if there's some weak ace X. But again, just given the action of the hand post flop, you're allowing a weak ace X to just go check call.
Or 350.
Voden does try to bluff catch with the 7, so unconventional line works out for Kavanaugh here. John mentioning that another one of our stream regulars, HV, did fire at this tournament. I think he fired 2 different flights, just 1 bullet. But we did start things off this weekend on Friday with a single day 50K, and can happily report that HV just shipped the whole damn thing for about 14,000. I think it was actually just under 15,000, so 400 buy-in for that 50K single day. Not a bad day's work for one of our stream favorites here at Champions.
All in from 4.
Don't see the cards yet, but yep, now we do. Suited ace jack under the gun and all of the chips from Bryce.
7, 8, and 9 folds.
Only good luck against others.
2 folds. And 3 folds.
Just in time to pick up the free orbit. Drags in the small blind and immediately posts the big blind and ante. Bryce still underneath that 10 big blind mark here. Could expect a lot of pressure to be put on by either Voden or Vu within this hand if it folds around to them.
7 folds, 8 and 9.
So far it's doing just that, folds around to Bacha. And we've seen Bacha be a little bit on the tighter side, but also not exactly dealt in. He's had the offsuit King Jack, the offsuit King 10, and then the Queens. The Queens was what he decided to go with. And now suited Jack 10 on the button. I do like that he's coming in here.
And because he's been so quiet, he may get a lot more respect for an open on the button than a lot of players would.
Yeah, that's where Bryce does fold and offsuit ace there. If he had folded that button, we probably would have seen a all in there potentially. Vu is supposed to just jam pretty wide, open jam. And if he had limped or maybe even raised, I think that Bryce would have committed the rest of his stack again underneath 10 big blinds with the Ace-4. We've seen a lot of love for Bello in the chat. I've had the chance to play with him a couple times. He's always played really well from what I've seen, and that's why we see him on the final table here. He's in the big blind now.
Great to see people in the chat letting us know who they're sweating. Be sure to give a like and a subscribe while you're in there so you get more great poker content like this in your feed. Thanks for watching, everybody. This one folds around to the cutoff, and Batra with Jack-10 again, choosing to open. This time he's probably going to get a little pushback. Vu with 10-10 on the button.
Yeah, we saw Vu 3-bet the 7s earlier. He's about to do the same. It's just a matter of the sizing.
350 raise from 3 or
So it does come in for 350 as the 3-bet. And given what we can see, there's not going to be a flop here. Don't think that Batra wants to continue here.
Just too high a percentage of his stack to go with for Jack High. As pretty as Jack-10 is in cash games, it's a dangerous proposition, especially out of position in a tournament. I even fold 7-4 occasionally in tournaments.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's a huge exploit.
I'm taking care of 2-7.
It's such a sneak,
Boo now getting plenty of love in the chat as well.
He builds up.
Baby mama Brian Garcia in the chat showing love to David Vu. That's his baby daddy. And Eric Flores as well. Welcome, welcome guys.
7, 8, and 9 fold. 1 fold. 2 fold.
This one quickly folds around to Vu, who wakes up to a pretty strong ace in the cutoff.
Is that how you pronounce it? I might just switch to Baby Daddy. Baby Daddy comes in for... No, okay, I'm going to switch back. I can't.
And most likely a raise and take it here.
Yeah. Just give me a second. I'm gonna do the whole. I actually think this one full lucky one.
Some pressure again back on Harris. Under the gun and our shortest stack. 7 deuce won't do. He'll wait for the big blind and kings from a +1.
9 raise 145. 1 fold.
Interesting. Well, Haiti has elected for some larger openings, but now with the kings, he actually does pull himself back into a more standard opening range right around 2x.
Uh-oh.
And jacks for Bryce, our second shortest stack.
Point.
Yeah.
With less than 10 bigs, he just has to get him in there. This hand plays itself. Unfortunately for Bryce, he's going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, pretty easy fold for the ace-10 and all others behind. Even if you do have a hand higher up in range with a raise from one of the larger stacks and a jam from Bryce, you really should just fold out most to expect a ladder, or at least take your shot at a pay ladder here.
Yeah, so Bryce is going to have to catch a set or some kind of
I've been winning since yesterday.
straight run out here. Does have one live suit as well. But now it is a jack only to help him out.
And unfortunate to see Bryce find himself on the wrong side of the cooler there. But yeah, hand just playing itself, and I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty more of Bryce at these final tables as we usually do. Absolute crusher and Houston legend. JJ with the Jacks, our first out in 9th place here, taking home $2,200 for his efforts. Not a bad payday on a $300 buy-in.
And Wahidi living up to what he said in his bio sheet, he is the cooler. That was definitely a cooler for JJ. No choice but to get the stack in with jacks there.
All players now locking up 28.90, but nobody wants to play for that. They're looking up top, 22,000 to first place. And the big winner within that was Harris here. A short stack that now finds himself in the big blind. Gets an additional pay jump by just being patient with it.
Yeah, he's going to make almost $700 extra no matter what after that knockout.
And hopefully he looks down at something that he can commit himself with. We've seen Jackson, the last orbit within this configuration, open up Jack 4 offsuit as he's supposed to. Now a king going to do the same thing.
Very interesting open here given the stack that Harris has. He's almost priced in no matter what he looks down. He may not even look at his cards. Oh, look at this.
He's in there.
Chips are getting in the middle. Suited ace for Harris.
Yeah. And a quick call from Jackson. He understood the dynamic already, and I think he was just ready to spin the wheel regardless. He just comes in for a raise, trying to smaller raise, making sure that Kavanaugh, who covers Jackson, doesn't jam over top of him behind. Harris does connect for a pair. Really no change outside of denying Jackson's 3.
Just has to fade a king now.
And does. Ace is up. Had the best of it the whole way. So good double for Harris. Patience has paid off. Got a ladder and now found a double. A little bit of breathing room for him for sure.
Lucky chip, gets a lucky chip.
Also always nice to win your big blind and ante back.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I was just about to say he probably would have rather had this happen the previous hand when he could win the big blind and ante, but definitely happy to get the chips back and a double up there.
Giving support. I don't mind if I have 2 outers. Just do it for me.
Never know what's gonna happen.
Still going to need some help though. Still the shortest stack at the moment, but does feel good to get through the big blind. Now he's got a full orbit to look down and make something happen.
Nice blood transfusion.
Sure.
One folds. 2 folds. 3
Action folding to Bello with less than 1 million chips and 2 queens in his hand. Gonna raise it up.
6 folds.
145,000.
Folds.
Oh.
8 8 calls, 145.
And Harris waking up to a pair as well, just calls. Interesting there to play this without a raise, as short as both of these players' stacks are. Surprised the chips aren't already in the middle, but here comes the flop. Queens still good. Harris, with a little bit of connection to this flop, has some straight outs, and he's going to lead out here.
100 for me.
Leads for about quarter pot, 100,000.
And Bella's got to be loving this lead.
All in. Slide is all in.
Rips it all in, and now Harris is going to be in a really tough spot with 2 overcards to his 8s there. Just finds the fold. And back where he was not long ago, with just over 300,000 in his stack.
That looks right.
I gave clown for it, but whatever.
Good hand, man. Thank you.
Atra, King 9 under the gun. Wonder if he's just thinking about this, trying to balance the timing. Yeah, I think that was just a timing balance. Just given how he's played so far, he's correctly been tight, and did not expect him to do anything with that King 9 besides fold it under the gun. This one now folds around to the hijack. The offsuit ace wheel for Jackson. Jackson does come in.
160 for 6.
Comes in for 160, and now queens have been passed to the cutoff. And we've seen Kavanaugh be very aggressive. He is known for that, really, the tight, aggressive play style. Occasionally, post-flop, he does take some more passive lines, and we've seen that one time as well, but yeah, 500,000 as a 3-bet.
Large raise from Kavanaugh.
And
just a little posturing here from Harris. He'll get out of the way.
9-4.
Yeah, same with Foden. Maybe there's a break coming up. Looks like everybody's looking at the clock and taking a little bit of extra time with these hands. Don't worry, the break will only be for the players. We're going to skip right past it here on the stream.
And Foden isn't actually thinking about the hand here. Obviously, as Dan's pointing out, it could be just structuring things a little bit for the break. That, and again, just balancing time. And that's what, didn't mind it with the King 9 under the gun, didn't mind it with the 4 deuce of Harris. Within tournament play here, you really do have to try and make sure that you're balanced on your timing and don't give off any tells to the other players of your hand strength. Queens do take it down.
Straight.
That game is $10. That game is $10. That game is also $10. All games are $10. That's right. Even the stream game is $10. For the month of July and August, all games will be $10 an hour all day, every day, all month long.
Yeah, great promotion for the rest of the summer here. $10 flat rate for all the cash games. No guesswork necessary. Come on down to Champions and play some Texas Hold'em, some PLO, mixed game, whatever you want. $10 an hour. And blinds should be going up here to 40 and 80,000 as we come back to the action. It's going to put a lot of pressure on some of these shorter stacks here. We do have 2 stacks below $1 million and 1 right at $1 million. So right in that 10 to 12 big blind area, and some even less than that. Harris with just about 5 big blinds.
Ooh, dealt pocket pair. Small pocket pair. Comes in under the gun, 160. And he's got to recognize that he's got to get around this table of short stacks. Multiple players, less than 10 bigs. Harris jamming the ace king, so I imagine Vu,
3 some.
if he's going to come in with the 3s, he knows he has to call off either Harris's jam or even Batra's typically. So cards will be on their backs here. It's a flip between the red draggers of Vu and the at-risk player, ace king off. So far, so good for the draggers.
Harris looking for an ace or a king. And still. And unfortunately, those are not coming. The 3s will hold. And that is going to end the night for Benny Harris.
Still not a bad payday. Walks away with 28.90. Did find a ladder along the way here at the final. Playing a short stack the entire time and played it well. Had some patience. Found a double at one point, but Delta Premium got it in good and couldn't get there, unfortunately. So all other players are final 7 now enjoying a ladder, and Vu continuing to chip up. He has the chip lead.
And not just a small chip lead. He can afford to lose a big pot and still have some chips at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to pull away from some of these other stacks. And we've seen that he's not afraid to get active and see flops, runouts. So expect him to continue to accumulate chips.
Very interesting open here from O'Hady. 5-6 offsuit. Just picking a time to make a move, possibly. Voting with king queen on the button.
He started 2.4 or more. I'm sorry, 400 stack. Okay. So 900, 1.82, 2.25.
If this was suited, I think Vodin is essentially going to 3-bet this 100% of the time. I think he's still going to 3-bet it a majority of the time regardless on the button.
Just coming with a call here.
And this is part of the different dynamics between cash and tournament play. There is some dollar amount, a very fluid dollar amount assigned to each chip here in the tournament at this point, and Vodin does not want to give up that amount that he holds.
Ace high flop, and O'Hady immediately reaching for chips. Got shot for Vodin, but again, not a cash game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good flop for Wohady to represent as well. 2 big, 1 little on board with 2 diamonds. Voden does have that king of diamonds, does have the gut shot you pointed out. Yeah, Voden can definitely peel one off here in position. Both players very similar stacks, and SPR quickly closing in. Wohady actually does find a pair on the turn. Sometimes when you do find the pairs, you're getting a little out of line. Find some equity you didn't plan on having. You could try to just get this to showdown potentially. So a lot of the times in this instance, you're going to check as he does. At this point, you don't want to get blown off of your hand. Maybe you lead and then get raised.
Voden clearly calculating in his head there. You can see the wheels turning. He's talking through it, and bet and take it with what is now not the best hand.
And as much as other players have been tabling their hands so far, and I haven't always liked that, I do like this a little bit. I think Voden does know that he should have been in the steal spot with that bet. Doesn't know that he had the best of it until the turn when he stole it. Yeah, just good recognition by Voden as well that he had the chance to steal it in position when check 2 on the turn.
Yeah, highly unlikely Wohady's checking an ace at that point.
And if he goes any smaller on the turn too, I think Wohady does call, but
No pair.
Voden sticking with the line that he went with of, I need to steal this, I need to rep that I have the ace or the jack, and that type of hand is going to size up here.
9-10 suited for Kavanaugh. He has built his stack nicely since the start of this final table, and we'll open this one to 160.
Yeah, and Kavanaugh has tabled a few hands that he did not need to, including an ace-king, and so I think he is going to get a lot of respect for the range that he plays, and especially from an early position like this. So that one just folds back around to him, and
won't
he's
be
able
showing
to
the
take
10
one.
high.
Yeah, got to protect the image as long as you build it. Don't want to show them that you are balanced. This one going to be folding around to the button. Again, just some timing balance from the king deuce and quickly out of the way. Jack 10 has been one of the hands for Batra. Folds to him and is cut off here. Does elect to just get out of the way. Chip leader Vu here handcuffing Batra and some of the other players, but especially Batra, just sandwiched in between 2 of the largest stacks on the table.
Yeah, with Vu behind him and the second shortest stack in the big blind, you don't want to get out of line with Jack High.
Interesting spot for Bello here. He knows that Vu's been active throughout the final table and has built this massive stack. Now on the button, he's in a position in multiple ways to abuse the button and abuse this dynamic. So Vu should be pretty wide here. You want to keep some worse hands in, but you also need to come in for a raise.
5 raises to 6. 600,000. 6 folds.
And Bello raising to about half of his stack, 600,000. Boo likely to fold here, but he's not going to do it super quickly. Doesn't want to give off any of those tells, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, just a little bit of posturing, considering options as well. But yeah, we'll have to give Bello a lot of respect within this position and fold it out. Nice pickup there for Bello.
Quiet table, but often these tournament tables are a lot of money at stake here. All these players guaranteed 3,500, but first place 22,000. You can only afford to make one mistake.
Yeah. Players enjoying smaller pay jumps now, but they do become increasingly meaningful as the tournament progresses. Right around a 7,000 pay jump differential between second and first place if we do see the entire tournament play out. Sometimes on tournaments of this size, players do elect to make some deals as we get more short-handed, but I like getting into the no chop territory. Let's just get the experience. Let's just play for it all. First walk of the final table here.
That's pretty amazing. 34 hands in.
Odin quickly out of the way. Batra, ace X, but not suited, not in any way connected here. Decides to put most of the chips in.
Yeah, looks like about half of his stack, 300 and something going in. 330 is the number.
As we pointed out, he's been on the tighter side and really not dealt in. So this hand looks good for him, and he's going to get a lot of credit here as well. Other players going to recognize that he hasn't been very active, so does just take it pre-flop.
Turns out to be the best hand.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Batra under the gun with the suited King 10. Does like to get out of the way. And we see it folded around to the 7s in the hijack for Bello. Lines at 40-80. He comes in for 180. 5s correctly out of the way. And now 9s in the small blind for O'Haty.
9 is all in.
Ships them all in.
And I like the jam versus the flat. This isn't a cash game. Your jam could potentially fold out a flip that you end up on the wrong side of. You could be also dominating a lot of hands like what we see happening here. So it's a bit of a merge in its own right. Potentially folding out better or getting value from worse.
And he's got Bello just covered.
Yeah, and I think Bello's a good enough player here that he's just going to recognize this for what it is and have to put this into the raise fold bucket, which he does. Bello pretty accomplished within his own right, so whenever you do feel like you have an edge on a table, maybe you are more experienced or slightly more skilled than some other players at the table, you don't want to be the next one out. You want to take this run as far as you can, play for it all. So it's about avoiding the marginal spots and just printing money by folding. I do believe that Bello on this current table does have the most recorded live earnings, according to Hendon Mob, with just over 160,000. Action pending with the Queen 10. This might just be a favorite hand of Jackson here. We saw him flat and open earlier from the small blind with Queen 10, and definitely taking his time considering all options here. He does have just roughly 10 bigs, but open under the gun from the chip lead. Not really the position that he should be abusing his stack from. So still have to give some credit to the open.
Cool.
And I believe it is an announced call from the 8s. Kings have Kavanaugh in really rough shape here.
Yeah, we saw Kavanaugh fold 5s, but he's electing to call with the 8s, and now O'Haty with a nice looking hand on the dealer button. Ace 10 suited.
And the flat and the cutoff, you know, everybody's seen that Kavanaugh has been more aggressive, so yeah. Well, Haty's going to step into it. He thinks that the flat is weak from Kavanaugh, that Vu is just playing a large stack here and being active as we've seen throughout the final table. So O'Haty electing to just ship it, the ace 10 on the button, probably expecting some folds, but he's going to just get looked up by Vu.
And that's going to save Kavanaugh. He's not going to have to see this
All in.
flop at all. Vu, I like the pause there. Gives it some thought first.
And does come in over the top.
He wants Kavanaugh to call. Taking enough time there to create a potential side pot between he and Kavanaugh, just in case.
Yeah, correct play by Vu, obviously, as well. The flat just looks so strong. He's inviting Kavanaugh in, and the rest of Kavanaugh's chips Kavanaugh does cover Wohady. And 8's definitely on the threshold too, just flat as Kevin Kavanaugh did pre here. But now it does just turn into a, okay, if they're both drawing at it with some ace-x premiums, I'm just going to get out of the way. You don't always like the spot, but these cards just have to hit the muck. You have a chance at securing an additional ladder. There's an at-risk player, and you still have very healthy chip stack behind the 2.65 for Kavanaugh.
I just didn't know if it was like an ace-king versus ace-queen situation.
Yeah.
And I was good, you know.
Kevin, what do you for?
Eights.
Kings for Vu, not the ace magnets, at least not yet.
For me.
No backdoor club draw
Fucking so behind.
for Wohady,
Not even fucking-
and no ace from space. The Kings will hold to eliminate
Thank God I
Wohady
didn't have queens.
Wow,
in 7th place.
Yeah, like-
And that's a little bit rougher. We did see 2 of the short stacks go out in 9th and 8th place, but Wohady did come in with a very healthy stack and feels like he exits early now for just over 3,500.
And what a gift for the two players with less than 1 million chips left in their stack. They're going to take a big old pay jump there. About $700 extra guaranteed. Each player guaranteed $4,260 now. $22,110 up top.
I don't like that. I only had 160 in there. Let's just let it go. Nice hand, sir.
Thank you.
I think it's that I showed him the blood.
8 of clubs, 8 of spades.
Put them on tilt.
Yeah, put them on here.
He was tilted, yeah.
Semi and then full.
Huh?
You're good. 8s. If I'd
I
called,
gave
that
you
would
the
have been
alley-oop.
stupid.
I set up that alley-oop for you.
Six players remain. Folds to the button. Voting with a suited king.
That's a real bar.
Ranges will open up a little bit now that it's getting down to a shorthanded game. Voden opens to 180. And Vu now with a commanding chip lead. Over 5 million of the 13.5 million chips in play. Suited queen for him, so he'll see a flop. And he can afford to see a lot of flops. And put a lot of pressure on everybody. Obviously, neither of these players wants to tangle with the bigger stacks at this point, but totally fine to make a call here. An action flop here. Vu flops open-ended. Voden was second pair, but it quickly checks through. And basically a min bet on the turn gets quickly called by the pair, and the straight gets there. The rich get richer. Vu running super hot right now.
Yeah, he had a weird one earlier where 6-5 gets there against Voden. Now it's queen 6.
I didn't know how. I thought I had an 8.
No, you read it straight.
Yeah, I thought I had an 8.
8 would have been good.
Interesting. Vu
Misread his own
probably,
hand.
yeah. He probably leads river, obviously, if he knew he had the straight instead of just second pair.
Just read my hand.
Yeah, I do not think that was intentional. He definitely would be betting a little bit for value there.
Announces pair, but tables the straight, and that's why you definitely have to be careful about mucking your hand, potentially. Could fold a winner one way or the other. Suited ace queen, probably the best looking hand Batra has seen outside of a pocket pair. And does jam. Yeah, Bello can't give the action there with the 8-6. Batra still has some fold equity here, despite being just under 10 bigs before that pickup. Well, earlier I mentioned Bello's recorded live tournament earnings as the highest here on the table. Vu, our chip leader, also a couple entries of his own, and this will take him well over the 60K mark that he currently finds himself coming into this final table. His best live cash of 23,000 if he does take home that first place today. Just shy of his best live cash. Currently paying 22,000 to first place. Odin opens this one up from the hijack with 9s. Vu flats behind, but ace wheel from the big blind, one of our shorter stacks. Jackson just jams it and gets immediately called by Vodin's 9s. Cards on their backs. Vodin hasn't been running so hot since starting the final table here, and does flop open-ended here on the low end. Doesn't want to hit the king, and he does straighten out, but it brings a third heart. Jackson could hit
Always a sweat.
a heart on the end, and it's a good thing that Vodin did hit the straight, because the ace river would have been good for Jackson, but instead Vodin's straight will send him to the payout cage for 42.60. Not a bad payday, all things considered, for Jackson, though. 300 buy-in on this multi-flight. We had 5 starting flights, including 2 turbo flights, and great turnout.
Good job, Brandon. Now I'm
Looking at our final 5 players now.
Don't hero call and don't shove in front of us.
Batra, a little bit of a unsung hero, has laddered quite a bit. Just being super patient, and sometimes it's nice to be dealt out.
It turned out this time, just quietly making more money.
He came in as kind of middle of the pack, but on the shorter side with $1 million in chips, and he's just under what he came in with, but has enjoyed 4 ladders. Vodin under the gun as we start to get into our more short-handed play here. Opens the 7s, and Jack 8 looks like going to defend.
Yeah, definitely don't hate it. Min raise. It's only one more big blind for Kavanaugh to see a flop.
Definitely has the chips to take this post flop, as he does. And again, players should be opening range a little bit more as we adjust to short-handed play. Goes check check pretty quick on the paired flop, and the 7's still in the lead. 3 to a flush as it goes check check again, turn, and players just taking their showdown value there.
Yeah, nobody getting out of line in that hand.
200, 300, 400. Well,
Players just getting back from break. Thankfully, we don't have to go anywhere.
The $80 straddle. Ty was suited 8-4, reaching for chips. He's got removal to 7-4. Good hand to raise with. Yep.
Okay.
Andrew's right there. They're both right there. Yep, production.
It's a little weird. I think maybe they played a highlight reel in the background on the audio side. We're back to it, and it looks like they're shifting the players around here to make it a little bit more camera friendly.
On the 100? Yeah, 100.
As we come back with 50 and 100 blinds.
And I color up as well. The pink chips, the 5Ks, have been removed from the table. So again, the chip denominations, the greens that you see in the back of each stack, or at the bottom of each stack, those are the 25Ks. And then the pearly white and blues are the 100Ks, the bigger chips. Second walk of the final table. Vote in this time. They broke out the leash for him.
With the 5-handed table, those blinds are going to come along a lot quicker here for Batra. He's going to have to try to make something happen with less than 10 big blinds. And this is going to be 2 of those big blinds going into the middle right now.
I never switched it up.
Appreciate you guys. 5 full.
Bello exercising some caution there with the second shortest stack.
Thank you.
And the short stack does get walked.
You're ahead of me.
But yeah, I think Bello, with the recognition that he probably would have opened the queen 10 in a different configuration, but with the shortest stack and the big blind, would have been a little bit of a loose or speculative open there from the queen 10.
Yeah, we'll probably see a lot of caution from Batra and Bello at this point. The next money jump is over $1,500, so neither one of those players wants to go out in fifth. Obviously, everybody wants the 22K up top, but...
And I like this from Batra. 2 Broadway cards. Doesn't matter if it's suited or off like this. You're essentially free rolling a bit as the shortest stack here. There's not a lot of ICM pressure on you, so he's got the 2 overs to the pocket pair that does call it off.
I can take that.
And it's a flip going in here. Batra, the one at risk, but he picks up top pair and takes the lead.
Paired turn, no help to Vu. Could have picked up a straightening card on the turn. Instead, Batra will hold after the flop and find the double up. And that definitely changes things for all players here.
Yeah, big shift in table dynamic. Everybody has over 1 million chips now.
Yeah.
Bello at 13 big blinds is not in immediate danger, but he is about to be in the big blind, so he'll quickly be down to about 10 big blinds unless he can make something happen in this orbit. Now Batra up to close to 20 big blinds, has plenty of play. And credit again to our great tournament directors. Always a great structure here. Average stack still hovering around that 30 big blind territory. They get all the levels. Folds to Batra on the button. He does have an ace. he will also be aware that the short stack is in the big blind. He decides to get out of the way with the ace-4 offsuit, and it looks like it's going to be a walk for Bello. And he's more than happy to take his chips back, looking down at 6 high.
My angle can't see.
Two, yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, cool. I can't see the other one. No, just because my angle. You're good, you're good, you're good. You're good, thank you.
It's fine, there's nobody on the other side of me. So.
You're good, thank you.
Might as well build the gray wall of green stack.
Pocket 8s under the gun for Voden. Second biggest stack at the moment, and he will come with a raise. And most likely a raise and take it here. I don't think Kavanaugh's defending 9-4, even for one big blind. Gets out of the way.
This is your ante. Okay, thank you.
Atra, the offsuit king jack, first to act.
Five-handed, this is a pretty strong hand.
And I like the adjustment. Earlier we did see him make correct but tighter folds when it was more full ring, but I do like this open, and it's a very good adjustment to the short-handed play.
7 calls.
Goes with that 3x open and gets a call from a worst hand. Kavanaugh in the small blind with king 10.
Heads up.
Bowden gets out of the way, and heads up we go. Batra with the best of it, and in position here, but oh my.
No.
Kavanaugh crushing this flop.
I was going to say on the flop, at least Batra hasn't connected, and that's going to save him quite a bit, but this is an unfortunate turn card for Batra as Kavanaugh fills up tens full of kings.
And I could be wrong here, but I feel like Batra just bet that out of turn, or maybe Kavanaugh checked so quickly. I mean, the chips got in the middle very quickly after that turn card.
400? Yes. 7 bets, 400,000.
Now Kavanaugh leading for 400.
Calls. 10's full.
And gets the extra value. Batra now back down to just over $1 million in chips. 11 big blinds for him. And Kavanaugh up over $3 million.
Yeah, Batra saying he is lucky to still have a stack here. And Bello thinking, come on, man. How am I even with you on chips after that one?
Yeah, if the front door diamonds don't get there, I think the stacks go in. Pretty hard to make a full house five-handed.
I reciprocated your action. You started building
Yeah,
walls,
zero
like,
sweat for Kavanaugh throughout that hand.
Like how you did.
Flops the joint, turns
I just like
it,
to go with the triangle offense.
and gets paid along the way.
Because we're
5
sideways.
for 250.
Total poker.
Chip leader
Yeah.
first in,
Weird.
250,
Weirdly side to side.
ace 10.
Pretty looking hand for Bello, but with an open already. Gets out of the way. Folds through to the blinds. Suited king for Voden. But he does get out of the way, and Batra folds as well. Raise and take it for Vu.
I don't think so.
Just want to take the time again to thank everybody who's watching live here. Be sure to say hi in the chat. And if you haven't already done so, hit that like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And if you're interested in playing on our stream, we often stream cash games. There is a form you can fill out in the description. Let us know what limits you like to play and what games you like. We're adding new players all the time to our cash game stream here at Champions Club. We got a huge tournament series coming up in August.
Queen Jack again?
Summer Poker Open. Batra all in with an ace-7 in the small blind. Gets a fold from the big blind of Vu.
Definitely like the blind on blind play that I've seen so far from Batra. Within Texas, probably one of the least studied spots, or at least a spot, especially within cash format, that we rarely see. Typically things going multi-way, but within tournament poker, blind on blind should be one of the most studied and well-versed spots. Not a lot of cards for some of these players here. Voden went from, I believe it was 6-4 to now 7-3, and now 9-8 for Batra. He's getting after it. He recognizes that he should get a lot of credit, but looking to steal this one, the offsuit connector. Yeah, great recognition by Vu. I think he's thinking about just taking a spin with this one. It's him and the two shortest stacks at the table. Does think better of it ultimately. I think if that was a suited Jack 10 or suited Queen Jack, he definitely just sticks it in. Could again just be giving Batra a lot of credit here. Batra should not be opening this in any way, but deviates and works out for him.
A brave move with the short stack in the big blind.
Yeah. And definitely opportune as he takes that big blind and ante away from Bello. Takes from the other shorter stack and buys himself an orbit. And good news for Bello here is that if Kavanaugh wasn't chipped up behind him, Vu would just put his stack in, the ace-7, but opens it and takes it down pre. Yeah, John Dyer in chat pointing out that we do have a very good game, multiple games of Big O, including even a round of each So both variations of high-low 10-20 limit and then 5-5 Big O. Very popular game here at Champions within the last 4 months. So multiple games and variations of that are spread throughout the week. I'd say Wednesday is the strongest day for that. Thursday, Sunday, and Monday as well. Just check Poker Atlas and you can join the list. But back to the action at hand. Under the gun, Ace X for Batra. Jams it. Kavanaugh not going to take the spin, but a little bit of posturing. And Batra again just picks up blinds and ante. Batra doing a good job of just chipping up small bits at a time here after the King Jack King 10 collision that could have sent him to the rail. Do see some more activity from our chip leader Vu. Under the gun with Queen 10. Comes in for a 2x open, but on the button, Kavanaugh, Ace Queen.
Just calling.
Interesting just call. Just looking to play in position against the chip leader. Maybe avoid disaster and prevent going out early. At least earlier than Batra or Bello, the shorter stacks here.
A queen high flop could have been disaster for Vu, our chip leader, but a king high board, he can just c-bet and most likely take this. And that is exactly what happens.
As under-repped as Kavanaugh was, though, within that hand, he definitely could have seen a turn, and his call on the flop would have likely got him a free turn in position. Vu is definitely supposed to continue on a board like that, and especially given his stack, just can c-bet 100% of the time on almost any board there. But Kavanaugh definitely could have tried to get that to showdown by just calling one street there. This is a funny one.
Oh, let's go. 7-4 diamonds on the button.
The famous Dan Fouts hand, and here he goes. This is exactly for you. It's also in the button position, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to raise a lot of hands on the button here. Vu will defend with king high, and you can see it's a flip. Very dry flop here. Bowden c-betting. 7-4 gets there.
He looks at the camera. He knows it.
Love it.
Dan knows what he's doing. If you watch Champions Cash Games, that's the one, Dan. That's the one. Done.
I love it.
All right, no more.
That's the only one you get.
No more
bullshit. No more bullshit. That was the one.
Only one,
Yeah,
but
only one.
we get greedy, right?
Yeah.
I gotta see it now.
Dan will be happy. It's his favorite. It's his favorite,
Favorite
hand.
hand?
It's one of the commentators' favorite hands.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dan.
He always say it's a nut, so I was like, all right.
Hi to Dan.
Well, hello.
250.
4 ends to 250.
And here we go. Bello. Just going to stick it in.
Can I have the count?
9-7 open and pocket nines jamming.
And in cookie jar. Taking inventory, most likely for show. I don't think Batra's ever calling here. It was 7-4 of clubs, maybe. But 9-7 of clubs, total garbage.
Call. Run them up, guys.
What?
Does call.
Oh my, I was not expecting that, and he is going to need a lot of help here against the nines of Bello. Good news for Bello here, as the shortest stack. Oh, some chopportunities.
Yes.
And there it is.
Chop it.
Yes.
Chop it up.
Wow.
That's a bad
What a
beat.
lucky break for Batra.
Don't mind me, man. You were the
And
closest
Bello.
I could get to, right?
Very upset with that run out, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the reason why you
Yeah, you can see it a little bit there, and it would be difficult for any of us to hide that. But completely dominating the 9-7 and
Double gutter.
ends up losing
Nice answer.
to the 9-7 because he has to give up some of his big blind and ante there
Like,
to Bacha.
disappointed to beat that. You deserve
Yeah,
to win. So I'll take
that
it.
sucks when you're in that spot.
Yeah, you're just thinking, cool, this is a clear ladder as well. This significantly cripples Batra. I'm now not really the short stack here. He's supposed to get in any two after this, and yeah, rough spot there for Bello.
Yeah.
At 6 bigs.
Yeah, that pair of two, I remember.
Yeah, pair two. So.
Against Ice King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
he's
want to win a flip all the time. I wanted to say one last hand, Dan. But Dan, you didn't give me opportunity. You just gave your friend opportunity.
Bello all in here with 10-7. Perhaps a little bit of frustration from that last hand, but it gets the king high to fold and picks up another 2 big blinds.
You're not the blind yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Ace-7 for the chip leader, reaching for raising chips.
Just for him.
No.
Keeping his sizing very consistent, 250,000.
Okay, okay.
6 is all in.
Is there side
And
page?
Bello all in again. 3 hands in a row.
You will win, bad boy, because
Time
I'm bad
with
boy.
ace deuce
I'll
suited.
let you win.
You're lucky, bro. You got bad boy lucky money on you.
And might get a fold out of Vu here with the ace-7 offsuit.
Call.
The call is made,
versus
and
ace-7.
again,
Badman, you are ahead. How much
Bello
is it?
at risk.
Am I getting something?
This is your. I'm pretty sure I know what card's not gonna come.
7 on the window.
7 in the window. And Bello now hoping for a chop, but will not get it. Tray of clubs seals the deal, and Vu will eliminate Bello. The rich get richer.
How much you want?
What the fuck?
Christopher Bello, nice run here. Ends up taking home $5,140 for his 5th place finish here today. Great run. Got a lot of ladders there at the end with a very short stack. Obviously would have liked to win that 9s versus 9-7 hand to have a stack to play with. But very frustrating last few hands for him. And he will be ending his night here. Great run though. 51-40, and now down to 4 players. Everybody guaranteed over 6,600. First place, 22,110.
Walk.
And Batra,
Big hand?
shortest stack again now after that elimination.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys.
Gets a walk.
We got him.
Voden showing his balance. Open 7-4, but folds 7 deuce.
It's a wild world.
Yeah.
On a short-handed game like this, 4 players remaining, this is a good starting hand to have. Kavanaugh with aces will open it up. 250,000.
Sorry.
Action folds to the big blind. Vu with a suited queen. Kavanaugh just hoping you'll click it back. He's just going to see the flop here, though. And luckily for Vu, he does not connect here. Kavanaugh bets 375.
That guy's good.
That guy. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You don't need the other ace.
Aces. The 1 ace is good.
Shows the 2-1 guys.
Yeah. What a beautiful flop. Thank God I didn't get ace king now. He would have taken me to Mars.
Mars.
I think of.
Thank you. I think Kevin, I've been lucky for you because last 2 weeks we've been playing together. You are right at the top. Here, TCH, Doghouse.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Okay, that too, but what changed?
He focused up. He started running better.
There's no running better. It's just not making dumbass
Suited
decisions.
Jack 5 on the button for Batra.
Sometimes I trap myself.
Yeah.
Gets out of there. Out 9-8. Raising from the small blind. Yeah, at least seeing a call. King Jack defends while still stacking up chips from the last pot. And flops Broadway. Boo. Yeah.
With Vu c-betting right into him. 200K.
And Kavanaugh obviously just calling here, going to keep all worse hands in on the rainbow flop. No additional help for Vu on the turn. And he's not slowing down. Likely knows he has something like a 0 equity hand and needs to continue to try to steal this away, but he's leading right into the nuts.
Kavanaugh taking inventory. Obviously going to at least call. Appears that he's stacking up a min raise. And now we'll see a little posturing from Vu.
Yeah, I like it. Funny that he quickly goes to drop some chips on top of his cards as a protector. And now taking the time to just try and get a live read on Kavanaugh. Obviously, Kavanaugh likes his hand. Obviously, Vu does not plan on calling, but wants to at least see some of the posture and body language of Kavanaugh. So he also probably knows that Kavanaugh does exactly this. Just shows it. Can easily give confirmation to any sort of live read that Vu was able to witness within those quick moments.
Looking for a way to beat the heat this summer? Well, here at Champions Club Texas on August 13th through August 25th, 2025, we'll be hosting a tournament series featuring 22 events, over $1.7 million in guarantees, including a $1 million guaranteed main event. The poker is hot, but the AC is cool.
That is right. Big event coming up in August, the 13th to the 25th. We're also the only poker club in the entire state that has a hotel on site. And during that big series of events, we'll be featuring a $85 room rate. You can book your room at championsclubtexas.com using the promo code SPO25. Lock up those rooms now. Those poker open tournaments that we run here at Champions Club are always a huge hit. Very busy. And those 1 million guaranteed mains typically get closer to 2 million when all is said and done. Looking forward to that one in August. Blinds have gone up 75, 125, 125. Little extra pressure for the shorter stacks, but what a great structure. Blinds go from
Starbucks
51 to 75, 125, and then 75, 150. So they get all of the levels, all of the play.
Fold. Seven fold.
Action quickly folding to the blinds, and another walk for Batra. I don't think I've seen a short stack get so many walks on a final table ever.
It's because Voden is playing Legos over there with his stack. He's been doing that recently. He's been playing a lot of mix games and just locking it up, making little towers. It's like Minecraft or something.
To be fair, he did have 7 high also. Card distribution having something to do with it, but Batra in that case had 6 highs, so a little pressure would have worked.
Seven fold. 3 fold.
Yes, my turn.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Another walk.
What do you had?
Vu had the goods. King 10 of hearts.
Oh,
He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not gone.
Same.
Yeah.
nice little grind you got there.
What?
You grinded it back up.
Yep. That's my life. A grind.
Too much.
It's close to
3. 3.
Trying to put me back.
Well, Voden's going to have to take some of those Legos out of the castle now with King Jack.
Raise 250.
Does come with the raise to 250,000. Four-handed, any two Broadway cards. Definitely a strong start. Action folds to the big blind. Kavanaugh with suited 10-6 will just get out of the way.
Yeah, if you follow Andrew Voden on Instagram, he posts quite a few structures just randomly throughout the week. And I would say he and JB, if you know the classic crew of JB, Angel, and Voden, JB and Andrew have the best structure builds of chips for sure.
I like it. Well, here we go. Short stack. Just over 10 big blinds, pocket nines. Batra just coming with an open though. Letting people know he's committed though. Goes with a large sizing, 475 over 3x. You'll see late in tournaments, often the opening raise, if it's not an all-in, is just 2x or 2.2 or 2.5. Very sizable open here. Folds around to the big blind, and Voden's got the king 10 suited this time. Dismantling the castle.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking, it looks like I'm locked up. It looks like these aren't in play and people can just abuse my Lego build. But yeah, definitely taking his time. He also doesn't really mind one way or another if blinds go up.
Coming with just a call here. Reevaluate post-flop. Batra with exactly 1 million behind. 1.1 in the middle.
And just like that, all in and a quick call.
And now it is Batra who's going to need some help. He does have a club in his hand. Also potential straight cards, 7, 8, or he could hit a 9.
And again, that action, it went check, jam, call very quickly.
Indeed.
Couldn't do anything, right?
Well, what a key card there.
Combo draw now for Batra on the turn, and no help river.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so glad I called it. I fought bottom too, Andrew.
Wow.
Cooler spot there for Batra. Nothing you can do there when you've got 9s. Only 1 overcard on the board. What a great run, though. Came into this final table with less than an average stack. Ends up laddering all the way up to 4th place, and will take home 66.80. And now it is down to 3. 3 players remain. Everybody guaranteed 9,900, 22,000 up top.
And then there was 3.
Kavanaugh came into this final table with one of the shortest stacks, talking about how lucky he was to be here on bullet number 3. Now there are 3 players left. He is the short stack now, but plenty of play. Over 20 big blinds in his stack. Voden has now taken the chip lead again. 5.5 million.
Six?
Yeah, because they're gonna put the trophy on Pkwy.
Okay.
Thank you. She's moving now to 6.
Action starting on the button with our chip lead now. Came into the final table with the chip lead. Vu took that away from him, and now Vu looking down at ace 10.
400.
Not going to get any action from 8-3. On to the next.
Voden and Vu pretty close in chips here, especially considering what the players are posting for their blinds. Kavanaugh sitting right at 3 million.
Yeah, just one double up away from the chip lead, and I see the trophy coming out on the table. That's a pretty looking trophy, as always, here at Champions Club. Going with the green theme for the Summer Jam.
Five deuce gets a walk. Kavanaugh gonna conserve chips here and try and get the max when he does double up, if he doubles up. There's a even better shot of that trophy there. You can see all the details of the event. It's very similar to the trophy that HV, who just joined us in chat, the trophy that HV won for winning the single day 50K event.
Congrats to him for that. Usually see HV on our cash game streams, but I hear he's catching the tournament bug.
Yeah, I think it's understandable after we saw Salmon, a former stream regular here at Champions, win a bracelet this summer for just over $400,000 in a $1,500 freeze out.
Former and future, hopefully. Stream regular.
Yeah, Salmon did take some time off from work, I know, and I believe a little bit of a backseat with regards to poker, but comes out hot this summer, winning his potentially first bracelet. I think anytime anyone wins a bracelet, they want it to be considered their first of many to come. Vu looks to continue to add pressure, but Kavanaugh, the suited ace wheel, just jams it and gets a fold out of Vu. Does collect at least the raise amount off of Vu there.
That's a big hand there for Kavanaugh, actually. Closing the gap between he and Vu. There's just about 100,000 between Voden and Vu, and 100,000 between Vu and Kavanaugh. Anything can happen at this point.
Now jacks for Vu. Opens to 300 under the gun. Kavanaugh did think about it for quite a bit there, but ultimately does make the fold, and the jacks, no action pre-flop.
Dodged a bullet there with Jack 9.
And I think that's partially just Kavanaugh recognizing that it's not all in or fold mode here. Despite being the short stack on the table, players are deep enough that they can take this post flop. And Voden comes in for 250. Suited ace wheel, a small blind. Vu will peel to the flop here. Definitely disconnected. Would prefer a suited jack, but you're three-handed. This definitely falls within range, and he does connect, making second pair. Voden no pair, but doesn't need it. Has the ace-high flush draw here. And continues.
Interesting spot here for Vu, as neither player should connect to this, and he actually does. Could push back when it's heads up and you've got a pair. You're usually in the lead.
So that's what he comes in with. Good recognition by Vu. But Voden, don't think he's done with this one, despite being out of position. Drawing to the nuts, has an over, recognizes that Vu is going to put Voden on not connecting with this flop here. Definitely favors Vu's defense range. Would be different if Voden just limped in from the small blind. But having raised, Voden is representing a stronger hand than necessarily the 7-high flop. Looks like Voden's, yeah, he's gonna click it back. Amazing 3-bet flop here. Voden now asking Vu to consider maybe I have an overpair here. And this is a great raise by Voden because he's also sizing, bloating this pot up that if it does come an action-killing turn, if the clubs do complete already, it seems like Vu's trying to protect a hand or represent the flop. Oh, wow.
Wow,
Chips get in quick.
Call from Voden here with the draw. And Vu, a bit of a favorite here, 57-43. Voden with, locks it up.
And again,
Five of clubs, and the two big stacks go at it, and Kavanaugh ladders again. But more importantly, Vu with a great run here.
Good handing.
Taking home almost $10,000 for his third place finish.
Yeah, just amazing hand by both players there. And great all-around play from start to finish from Vu.
What a tournament this has been, and try not to play any favorites, you know, when we're in the booth here, but great to see a couple of regulars make it down to the final two. Kevin is here at Champions almost every day, grinding either tournaments or cash. Kevin Kavanaugh.
Real fucking grind.
And Andrew Voden, of course, a Houston regular and Houston legend, used to commentate here on this stream sometimes. So super happy to see him make it this deep. He obviously is the big favorite here with almost 3-1 chip lead. But however this goes down, it's a great turnout and great result for Champions Club here. Excited to see what the next series brings. Summer Poker Open is going to be great. August 13th to the 25th.
Already been very successful, so.
$1 million guaranteed main events.
Happy how it turned out.
There's no
22 total events.
Not many people I'm okay with you with winning, but with you I'm okay winning. Very
And now we're heads up.
each other around the Houston and finally final table.
Yeah,
I've been on the other
Not
side.
just in a little rinky-dink tournament.
Yeah, a big
It's
one.
actually
Yeah,
worth-
yeah.
worth something.
I've been on the other side of the table with you too, so it's good to be on this side of the table.
Hopefully you still feel that way.
Voden referencing that he also gets in the box here in Houston, deals around town, not just plays around town. And he's been out to Vegas once this summer, had a nice run to start things off in the employees event.
King Queen for Kavanaugh, King 5 for Voden, raised to 450. Will not be defended.
Fix that up. No, I meant the big line. I picked it up.
And another big hand. This time it's Ace-Jack on the button. Kavanaugh will defend with his Queen High. The raise, only one extra big blind. And what a flop, Kavanaugh. Flopping trips again. Last time it was tens. He turned full and ended up eliminating a player in that hand. He can't eliminate Voden here, but he can put a big dent in that stack. Voden does not continue here, though, with the 2 overcards.
Check.
Check, check, and Kavanaugh's going to keep playing slow here. And now Voden's going to put some chips in. And we'll see if Kavanaugh leads on the river. He did that last time. Doesn't want to give Voden the opportunity to check back.
$350.
2 or 350?
3.
3? I fold. I fold.
That's about a third of the pot, and Voden quickly gets out of the way. But a nice pick up there for Kavanaugh.
Maybe if you just put it here and there, you know? It's on our side of the table.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying.
fine too.
It makes it you know, easier on
The
you.
table's long.
Yeah, while it took us a while to lose our first 1 or 2 players, seemed like once we got down to 6-handed, chips just naturally found their way in.
Yeah, quick work. And shout out to our great dealers, Gio and Brandon, doing a great job tonight. As they always do. We're lucky here at Champions Club to have some of the best dealers in the world. And these two doing a great job. Might have a clash here, 9-10 versus Queen-Jack. If either player hits, it's likely that they're both going to connect in some way, and here it is. Top pair versus open-ender.
Yeah. And as we saw earlier, Voden loves drawing at the nuts, isn't afraid to get the chips in, and just like that, he drills it right out of the gate. Turn cards are his friend here on the final table. Kavanaugh leads out just under half pot.
Voden actually checked that one. He's out of position here.
Yeah, no need for Voden to steal that betting lead from Kavanaugh.
He does check raise all in, and an instant call from Kavanaugh with the top pair.
That's it.
And we know that's it. That drawn dead. What a tournament, and what a run for Voden. Great job by both of these players. Kavanaugh coming into this
Pleasure playing with you, brother.
with the third shortest stack and ends up in second place. He'll be taking home $15,450. And Andrew Voden comes in as the chip leader. Doesn't maintain it for the whole game, but he does end up recapturing that lead when they're about four-handed and takes home the trophy. $22,110, and the champion of the Multi-Flight, Multi-Bag Summer Jam event. Congratulations to Andrew Voden.
Great tournament here, and again, we will be streaming more final tables to come as the Summer Poker Open approaches. That coming up in August. Full details, structure, dates available. Poker Atlas, also at championsclubtexas.com, where you can book your hotel room. Champions Club here in Houston, Texas, the only poker room in all of Texas with a hotel here on site where you can stay, play, and win big. That was a good one.
And don't forget, if you're playing cash for the whole month of July and August, $10 flat rate for time on all games here at Champions Club. For Kyle Miller, this is Dan Fouts saying good night. Come on back tomorrow for our cash stream.
No counting the stacks, stacking the bags. 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 No play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand.